a lion roar travel? It depends. It obviously depends on topography more than actually weather. But you'll find that as for us as humans, we'll hear it maximum that we'll pick it up is about 7 kilometers. That's where we start to lose our sort of range and our audio for them. And then in terms of lions, they'll be able to pick it up at about 10 kilometers away. So it's quite a long sort of way, if you think about it, that it travels and that they're able to actually hear one another. Now that roar that these guys let out, I was saying earlier, is quite sort of soft, so I don't think the Birminghams would have heard that roar. If they did, I hope that they're on their march straight north to try and kind of keep these guys at bay and away from the Nkuhumas and away from the sticks, because those cubs are all in danger at this stage if these guys settle a little bit longer. But for now, it is sleepy time. They are, I suppose they've had a busy day. Probably find a few elephants have disturbed them throughout the day, and maybe that's why they deserved a little bit of a nap. And I've just found another insect crawling on me is different to the one that we had earlier. So I was just having a little look at it. Quite an interesting little fella. I don't know if we're going to be able to get it. Seb, it might be a bit close. Am I a bit close? Let's see. I can go a bit further away.
Yeah, you're a little bit too far.
So I'm a little bit too close. There we go. So there's an interesting little guy. He's got quite nice camouflage on him. I'm still a bit close, am I not?
Further, yeah.
Okay, hold on, Seb. Sorry, I'm trying to move so that Seb can actually get it, because I'm obviously quite close to the lens, which makes it difficult for Seb. But there we go. See the beautiful camouflage this little guy's got on him? It's got little kind of creams and brown colors that are on it, and that will help it to camouflage incredibly well on a little branch. It's also got these two kind of fake eyes on the top, little black markings. Now I'm trying to stay as still as possible, but I'm breathing too much, and that's what's making it wobble, so I apologize about that. Breathing, I suppose, is important to staying alive, though, and one needs to do it from time to time, and not laugh as well. Sorry, Sam, I'm not the steadiest of people, but let's try and put it back on the branch. Come on. Come, little insect. There we go. That's better. Now it's actually just on its little branch and is moving around.
Which branch is that?
Yeah, I'll put my finger there.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's just shuffling along. It's got a very sort of slow but steady movement. If you look at it, it's kind of shuffles, moves those little legs, and off it goes. A bit of a spider web. It needs to dodge. Don't go into the spider web. I'll feel awful if I put it there and it got tangled in a spider web. I'd feel very bad about life. So let's see how it negotiates things. You can see all the little legs moving. Very cool, isn't it? I think it's cool. Little fake eyes. It's almost like a bus. It's a miniature bus, double-decker bus that's moving along. Oh no, now we've got some lichen we now need to get around. This should be interesting. This is going to be an interesting maneuver. I'd imagine that's the equivalent of climbing Mount Everest for this little bug. There it goes. And are we summiting just yet? No, still one leg stuck. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Come on. No, don't fall. I'm nervous. It's kind of clinging to the edge. This is an extreme insect. Here we go. Come on. It's up. It looks like it's got all legs on top. Let's see if it's going to get over. It kind of has this brick-like body, which is not really great for going over things. I feel like it's struggling a little bit. And if I show you exactly how big this is, you're going to laugh, because it's not very large at all. There's my finger over there. So my finger is giving you a bit of an idea of just how big this section is, and so this poor little thing is trying to climb over the top of that, but its body shape is not allowing for its... Exactly, it does look like in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's the same story. Well done, Rebecca. So it's kind of going and trying to get around. Have you negotiated it safely? Let's see. No, still not. I'm scared this thing's going to fall off. I really am. I suppose it's going to be protected enough. If it does, it'll just have a nice soft landing, and it's got hard exoskeleton, so all will be good. No, it's negotiated around. Very clever insect. Well done. You've managed to find your way around, and up we continue to go. But there's still a few peaks to negotiate as it gets further up the branch. How cool is this little guy? See the little antenna moving, working out what it's actually on. I don't know if it's got great eyesight, because the eyes, while they are there, the antenna seem to be doing a lot of work trying to work out where they're going and what they're actually doing. Very cool. You wouldn't think we had 3 lions here because we're busy sitting looking at insect, but I absolutely love the insect world. I think it's a very cool thing to spend time watching, and it's not like our lions are particularly active at this stage of the game. In fact, there is movement. Well, there we go. That's the first bit of movement we've seen in quite some time. So it's not really enthralling stuff from our lions just yet, but I'm going to persevere with them. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to get up and do something at some point. I was hoping they'd head back to the dam just in case maybe some water buck came down in the late afternoon, or you never know, maybe a little buffalo bull that headed this direction. But it seems as though these guys are out for the count at the moment, and they're going to just wait until they actually kind of get dark before they start to move, although they didn't move very far last night at all. It's going quite quiet now. It's starting to get to that time where things a little kind of quieter and stiller. It's that time of the day when all the sort of daylight animals are starting to go to sleep. Now, Project Alpha, you're correct. The insects are 100 times more active than what our cats are at the moment, but that's not to say that the lions won't provide at some point. We know that they are animals that prefer dusk and nocturnal behaviors, and so I'm hoping that they will get up just now, like I said, and maybe go for a drink or just do something and move about. A roar would be quite nice. It's been a very, 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 very long time since I've sit in a close proximity to a cat roaring. So I'm hoping that we are going to get a situation where we're going to get some roaring happening over the next little bit. Let's see how it goes, and you never know. Maybe we'll get lucky. But otherwise, I'm hoping that they just kind of move towards the dam, and that's our patience works out. Now, the other problem with where we are is that we can't really see anything that's happening at the dam. The dam's not far. It's about, I'd say, 100 meters from where we are. But I can't actually see or hear anything there. I was hoping that, they would be lying in a place where I could at least see anything else potters down to the dam so that we could go and have a look. What we might do is just go take a turn past there. The problem is that it's such a difficult place to get into that it seems kind of silly to leave them. And like I say, I'm actually not even sure how I'm going to get out of here because there's just kind of knob thorns all over the place, and somehow we managed to wiggle our way through them to get to this point. So I'm not sure how I'm going to get out. I was banking on that they were going to get up and move back towards the dam, and then I could just follow the path that goes out here, but it doesn't look like they're going to do that, and so I'm going to have to work out a different way. And that means that going to the dam just to have a little look and come back is going to be very difficult and probably not going to be the best idea. And for now, with the boys looking so tired, I'm not sure if I'll move just yet. I think I'll just give it a little bit and be a bit more patient. As patience is a virtue, as they say, and hopefully we will be rewarded. I'm just trying to look around if there's anything else happening. There's very few birds, given that it's quite wet, so I'm just trying to see if we've got any other insects that might be around that are moving or doing something. You never know. Sometimes when you look closely around us, and given how many insects we've seen so far, it would be nice if we got something else that maybe made an appearance at some point, and that we had something. Have you spotted something, Seb?
I'm just taking a chance.
You're taking a chance? Oh, well, you know what they say about people who take a chance. Sometimes you get rewarded with something. Nope, nothing there. That looks like just a bit of leaf action. No. Nope, nothing there. There's a bit of rust fungus, so you can see those little sort of reddish spots on the leaves. That's a bit of rust fungus that we get. You sometimes can get cotton stainers that live inside that rust fungus, so I wonder if they're maybe not present. I don't see any sign of them. They're normally a little red insect that crawls around inside, and the cotton stainers get their name because they crawl around on cotton and they end up leaving a residue that kind of keeps a mark on the cotton itself. Now, I don't see any of them, but there's a little bit of that fungus that I was talking about, that reddish kind of marking on the leaf. Sorry?
And some water for water day.
And some water for water day. Well done, Sebastian. Very clever. You're right, there is some water for water day, and that is a good thing. We've had a lot of water fall on us today. I suppose not that much, though. There's been a lot more to the south of us, down in the southern parts of the Sabi Sands. There's been oodles and noodles of water that's kind of fallen down that side of the world. Here has been a little bit easier. Now, is that drop going to fall? Are we going to get a droplet? Should we wait, Sebastian? I've done this before. And I got told off because waiting for a water droplet to drop was apparently not enthralling enough. There we go. So Rebecca says we should definitely wait. It is World Water Day, and a little drop of water may be what we need to... Exactly, Rebecca. It is a world of opportunities, and it might provide water for many different things. It might cause a seed to grow. It might provide water for an insect that will survive. It might just be an irritation to our lion and get in its ear. Who knows? But it is slowly but surely building momentum, although I feel like I might be old and grey by the time... Well, I am already grey, so that's not going to help, but I'm going to have to be old before this drops out. And yes, Rebecca, a bit like watching the kettle boil. Like, at least with a kettle boil, there's some noise and some ambience that builds up and some kind of movement. Oh, a bit of wind. This should shake things up. Come on, wind. Disturb our little... So, the bit of wind, I was hoping it was going to shake the drop. It looks like it's moved a little bit further, but maybe we need all of you guys to start chanting at home and to shout the drop to the ground and provide a little bit of kind of will for our little droplet to go and feed the soil and provide some life-giving water, as it is, to any little plant or anything like else. Oh no, our male lion's scratching his belly. Of course, now he will stop. Yes, he's now stopped, so don't worry, Sebastian. We don't have to worry. Our drop will fall at some point. This is... Oh, is the wind going to blow it? It looks like the wind is causing some disturbance. Oh, come on, little droplet. Do your thing. It's one of those moments where you just want to poke the leaf and make it drop. Shake the tree and make it drop. But we'll exercise our best patience. I don't even know which leaf it is, Seb. It's difficult. You might. Seb doesn't know either. He's just pointing the camera and hoping for the best. But I'm sure it's one of these leaves somewhere, and we'll figure it out eventually. But it looks like it's gotten a bit further. Is it just me, or has it dropped a little further? I think it's maybe by ever so little bit. I feel like I said, we're going to be very old, and oh, come on, that was close. It looks like some separation there. Maybe the drop has got separation anxiety and it doesn't want to leave the leaf. Come on, you're almost there. Come on. No, apparently not. It's still going to cling to the leaf as much as it can. I can't believe I am commentating on a leaf and a droplet of water rolling off a leaf. I feel like maybe things are not going quite according to plan, and that we maybe have started off with a bang for this drive, and things may have slowed down somewhat, that we are busy watching a droplet on a leaf. Of course, Brent is trying to get the tent sorted out, and Taylor's trying to find the dogs again, so that's why you're watching a little droplet kind of falling. Actually, I'm going to keep quiet for a little bit just so you can enjoy some of the sounds, and we'll have the peacefulness of the water droplet. So I believe some of you are saying the drop that didn't. Well, yes, this is the drop that just doesn't want to drop. It's decided that it doesn't like the name drop. It would rather be called the stay, and it's just going to sit on the edge of the leaf for the rest of time until the sun comes out and dries it up. It doesn't want to be a life-giving drop. Oh, there, it looks like it's going to fall, Seb.
Of course.
Is it going to go? There we go, a bit of wind. Come on, droplets. Almost. Oh, no. Come on. No, it's not going. It won't budge. It's clinging to life. Well, clinging to the leaf, should I say. I definitely want to go and flick it. Can't I flick that leaf, Sam? He's got this burning desire to flick the leaf. Where is the leaf? I don't even know which one it is, Rebecca. That's the... Did it drop? Yes. And I missed it. Oh, no. It dropped and I missed it. Oh no, this is a fail. I was trying to watch it and I missed it completely. And I bet you it's the drop that hit me in the shoe and made my shoe wet. Look, because there's my shoe and it's now got a drop on it. I'm sure that's the drop that made my shoe wet because I felt it as I turned around. So there we go. There's a little droplet on my shoe. That was not ideal at all. I can't believe I sat and waited for a drop to drop and I didn't even see it. That's ridiculous. But the lion has gotten up.
yeah.
So there we go. It's all happening. Drops are dropping. Lions are moving. And, well, yes, things are happening. Okay, buddy, take the rest of your sort of coalition members and go up towards the dam. It would be nice if you did. Please, no, of course not. You're going to lie further in the thicket where I can't see you, behind the pole. Of course, because you know how much I love the poles of our roofs. I'm so glad that you lay there. Thank you. Although he's now giving me the stare as if to say, you want to come say that a little closer? You're more than welcome. That was a comedy of errors right there. Big yawn. Look at, you can see the teeth are still in great condition. So it's an indication of sort of younger lions when all their teeth are nice and sharp and pointy and still quite white. There's a little bit of yellowing that's happened, but it's not major. And if you look at the Birmingham boys, you'll see a lot more yellowing of the teeth and also a lot more damage to the various canines within that group of lions as well. So pretty crazy to think. But anyway, let's see how these go. Yawning is a good sign. Yawning is a great sign. It might mean that this male's going to get up. But it's amazing his stare. He's got a proper stare on him, doesn't he, Seb? Almost looks like he could cut right through you when he looks at you. I'm sorry, did I make a lot of noise because I was laughing about the droplet? I'm sorry, Lion. I do apologize. What are the chances? I still can't believe I missed the drop falling. I'm very upset about this, Seb. It's not on at all. I'm pretty sure it is the one that wet my shoe too.
I was about to zoom out.
And Seb was about to leave the droplet and zoom out, which would have been an absolute fail. Now you can see this male is very alert. So this is the one that earlier was a little kind of shy of the vehicle. Every time I even turn my head, he kind of looks at me and kind of opens his eyes to check what's going on. And you can see those big kind of orange eyes, big pupils that he's watching, and he's just staring kind of in our direction. And it's a little unnerving when a lion stares at you like that. It cuts deep into your kind of soul, and it feels like he's burning holes in the back of your head when he stares at you with that eye, particularly when they're a bit obscured by vegetation. You can just see this kind of fiery glance staring at you behind the leaves. But pretty insane. Anyway, are you going to go sleepy again? Come on, it's time to wake up. Shame. It's been a busy boy. And you can see lots of the grass seeds that are starting to come out, or have started to come out. And so I don't think we'll get too much more seeding of the grass, even though we are getting a bit of rain now. I think most of the growth and the seeding has already taken place. It'll depend a lot on what the temperatures do. If it starts to get a lot hotter, then we might see a little bit more growth. But I have a funny feeling it's going to start getting cooler now after this weather. It's the typical Easter rains. So when we get Easter in South Africa, you can almost bet that there's going to be some sort of rain, and after that, then the temperatures start to drop off quite quickly and you start to get nice cool weather and the winter starts to come. So I don't think we're going to see too much more in the way of the sort of grasses growing or seeding or anything like that. This will be the last of the seeds that we see. Right, now our male lions are still going to sit and still be a little sleepy. At least one is up and kind of looking, and so hopefully he's going to lead us to the dam. While we wait for them to do that, let's send you back to Brent, who's finally made his way to the tent and is ready to talk to all of you, and is also ready to welcome the schools that are about to join us.
Welcome, Avoca, West, Sullivan, and Gordon Elementary Schools. Hello! And this is your very own special school drive, so great to have you. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Dangerous Dave on camera, and we are in the tent. Now, I've got a question for you. First off, I want you to tell me, what fearsome beast is this? Look at those massive canines. So you can tell me, what fearsome beast is that? Look how long those big teeth are. You definitely don't want to tangle with this fearsome creature. That's my question, to get your brains working. And of course, I would love to have as many questions as possible from all of you. So we're in the tent. We've got all these incredible skulls behind us. But out in the field, we've got two vehicles, one with African wild dogs and one with the biggest cat in Africa. Let's go see the lions.
Well, we are with one of the biggest cats in Africa, and 3 of them, in fact. And there's 3 really big male lions that are busy staring at us, and a big yawn. Look at those teeth. How cool is that? So this is really nice. They're starting to wake up a little bit. There's a bit of yawning happening, which is absolutely epic. Now, my name is Tristan. On camera today, I've got Sebastian, and it is a very warm welcome to all of you. I hope that you've had a wonderful day so far at school, and that you'll enjoy your safari as we carry on. Now, these 3 males are new to the area. They haven't been here for very long. In fact, today is the first day that we've really spent a little bit of time with them, and they've come in because they want to try and take over and become dominant males. Now, the problem with that at the moment is that they ate a buffalo 2 days ago, and they are busy farting, and it's very stinky. I can tell you right now that it's very smelly at the moment. Seb, is it smelly? It's very smelly, yes, so it's not very pleasant. And the males are probably passing wind because they've eaten a lot of buffalo, and it now causes them to do so. But they are waking up, which means that hopefully they're going to start walking, and they're going to walk out of this very dense, thick area that we're in. Now, Reagan, male lions have manes to protect themselves. And female lions don't fight nearly as much as what the males do. The males have to fight for dominance and for territory. And so when they come together and they fight with one another, they're going to bite and they're going to claw around the neck and the chest. And the chest has got the heart and the lungs. And so it's all places where they could get very badly hurt and killed. When they've got that mane protects that area, and it acts like a big cushion that they're able to basically keep them nice and safe. And so that's why they have manes. And if you see lions fighting, you'll find that the males, when they fight with each other, they'll actually bite and bits of fur will come off, rather than actually puncturing the skin and getting to a vital organ or something like that. So it's a very important thing for male lions to have. Now, you saw him yawning, which is good, because like I say, when they yawn, they are ready to start waking up and moving. Now, Matthew, the lions, depends on if it's a male or female. Males will live normally about 12 to 14 years. That's about roughly the age that they live to, whereas females will go anywhere between sort of 15 and 17. So the females live a little bit longer because they don't have to fight as much as the males do. The males often get pushed out and have to become nomadic, and it's harder for them to be looked after because they don't have a pride a lot of the time that looks after them like the females do. The females will live in bigger prides, and as they get older, so the younger females help with hunting and try and keep them nice and safe. But this male is very, very intent on looking at us at the moment, so we have to be a little bit careful. We have to try not to move too much. Now, generally, you're asking where the females are. The females, at the moment, don't want these males around, and the reason why is these males are very dangerous for their cubs. So we've got a situation where if these males find the cubs of the females, they're going to kill them. And the reason why they want to kill them is to bring the females back into estrus, and that means they can then try and have their own cubs with those females. So the females are running away from these males at the moment. These males actually chased some of our females 2 nights ago, and so they are not really welcome here. Our big dominant males that we normally see need to come back and chase these young males away, otherwise the cubs are going to be under threat and they might get killed. So we have to be a bit careful, and that's why the females are going to avoid these males as much as possible over the next little bit. But it seems like he's gone back to sleep. His brother at the back there is starting to wake up a little bit. He's starting to groom. You can just see his ears moving for now. So, like I said, there is 3 of them in total. And what happens with lions is they will often spend a lot of the part of the day to sleep. They'll kind of use it to rest. And the reason why they rest a lot during the day is because they use a lot of energy during the night. And so what they have to do is rest a little bit, and then as it starts to get dark, that's when they're going to start standing up. Now, I am not the only one out here. You heard from Brent just now that there are 2 vehicles that are driving around, and one is Taylor, and she's been trying to keep up with the wild dogs, but I think she's lost them for now. But let's go across to her so she can say hello and tell you what her plans are and whether or not she's going to be able to find those dogs again.
Hello everybody, it's great to have you on board my car this afternoon. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me is Craig. And like Tristan just said, we've been chasing after wild dogs, but they've given us the slip and they've gone into an area where we can't go. But I've got some good news for all of you. We saw a massive herd of elephants and they were walking in this direction. So I think if we carry on... no, come back here. There's a little antelope. Look, Craig. Oh, we might have to go in. if we go this way, basically, I think we're going to catch those elephants because they were marching. Now, you've got to be quick. You've got to look very quickly to the left. I can see there's a very small antelope called a daker. Common daker. Craig's going to show you too. Hopefully it doesn't run. Are you ready, Craig? He's prepared. There it is. There it is. Very scared, very nervous, running away from us. Perhaps it's heard that there's some wild dogs on the blocks this afternoon. And that is something that those wild dogs will eat. Now, my goodness, we've been bundu bashing, which is quite a cool South African word. So basically it means that we've been driving through all of the trees and branches. Now you're going to see a cloth come across the screen. That's Craig. Because it's drizzling, it's been a miserable day out here. He's just got to make sure that the lens stays nice and clean. Sure, we've been spoiled this afternoon. Who knows, we might see those wild dogs again. They could change direction and come back around here. I'm just hoping we're going to get those elephants, because there must have been about 40 elephants or so just marching across the road down a big animal pathway through the bush. So we're going to see if we can find them. I'm going to do my very best this afternoon. But Brent, as you know, is in the tent and he's playing all sorts of games with you, and I think he's ready to find out if you got the answer correct.
Well, we had some answers for the skull, and you said it was a lion. It's not a lion. It is not even a cat. It's far more closely related to us than lions. It is a baboon. So it is an ape, and a male baboon's canines are actually longer than a lion's canines, and they use that for defense and attacking each other. And also, so we don't have a lion skull. It's one of the few we don't have, but we have a leopard. So I'm going to put them down next to each other so you can see them nicely. So there we go. You can see quite different. You can see the baboon's got this very long nose, and where there is, there we go. The leopard skull is quite a bit smaller. This is a female leopard by the looks of things, or a young male. But you can see how much bigger the big male baboon skull is than a female leopard skulls, and you can see how much longer the teeth are. Not as thick. You can see the canines on the leopard are thicker than the baboons. Let's just do this. Turn it upside down so you can see. There we go. Matthew's wondering, are these real bones? Yes, Matthew, they are. Now look at these baboon teeth. What do they remind you of? Something that the tooth fairy comes to collect from us. So you can see they look very, very similar to our teeth. The big canines, which are very, very sharp. And if we look at the leopard's teeth, they're like a really sharp pair of scissors, so they're able to cut through skin and flesh. Whereas a baboon is an omnivore, which means he eats both meat and vegetable matter, so that's why he's got some sharp cutting teeth as well as those molars for chewing on fruits and leaves and grass and stuff like that. Now, yes, so Matthew was wondering, yes, these are all real. Some of them we've actually collected on Game Drive, and I'll show you which was my favorite one that I collected on Game Drive after we've gone back to Tristan and those beautiful male lions.
Well, I'm sure Brent has got all kinds of different things that he wants to show you in the tent, but our males are slowly waking up, so you can see they just doing a bit of bonding, which is a bit of head rubbing together and rolling around together and kind of yawning, and this is the waking up process. It takes a bit of time for them to wake up, so they will kind of roll around, groom each other, and then it's up and moving. Now, Lily, these guys can sleep as much as 20 hours a day. Can you imagine sleeping for 20 hours a day? For the most part, though, they don't sleep all of it at once. So what they'll do is they'll lie down for a few hours and then they kind of wake up a little bit and lie down for a few hours and then wake up a bit. But they can sleep as much as 20 hours a day. That's if they've really full and they've had a big meal, then they can sleep quite a bit. But otherwise, you'll probably find that they mostly spend the daylight hours sleeping and then they're up at night time. But they're still not quite ready just to move just yet. Still kind of going down. Now, Dominique, you're asking how many teeth the male lion's got. Well, that one's put up his head and the other one. So let's see, are they going to get up? Dominique, I'm going blank at the moment, but I have a feeling that it is, I think, 28. I might be wrong. Brent will know. Brent is in the tent, and he can even maybe show you how many teeth a lion's got in its mouth. But I think it's 28, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, though. It might be a little bit more than that. But we'll just have to ask Brent. He'll be, like I say, there's a skull of a lion in the tent, and he can maybe show you exactly how many teeth they've got in their mouth. It's quite amazing how many teeth they've got, and maybe you can just see how big their teeth are as well. But I thought maybe they were all going to stand up. There's been lots of yawning, lots of kind of grooming. And the reason that they groom themselves is because while they've been sitting, things like ticks and parasites have crawled onto them. And so they get rid of those. They also get rid of any loose fur and water that's on their coat and make themselves look pretty before they start walking. So basically, when you see them grooming and yawning, it's normally a good sign that they are going to start waking up. And I'm hoping that they're going to head a little bit further out into the open so we can actually see them a bit better than what we see them now. So Riona, there are lions, leopards, cheetahs, caracals, African wildcat, servals, so lots of different types of cats that we get in this area. They're spread around. Actually, this area is very famous for leopard more than anything else. So very few cheetahs, but lots of leopards and quite a few lions as well. So that's most of the cats that we see is leopard and lion. And then every now and then, if we're lucky, we'll see some of the smaller cats like serval, caracal, and African wildcats. But they are impressive. Every single cat is an impressive specimen, but nothing is as big and as imposing as what the lions are, that's for sure. Hopefully, like I say, that they are going to move a little bit because it's coming harder to see them. It's now getting dark, and this is when the lions really like to get moving. They like to get up now and start to think about hunting. It's this time of day where the animals like buffalo, which is their favorite, they start to not be able to see as well, and so these guys can get out and start to look, and their eyes are much better in the dark than the buffaloes, and that's when they start to hunt. So this is why they'll wake up now, and I'm pretty sure before they do anything, they'll have a bit of a drink, and then from drinking, they're going to start moving around and looking for food. They have eaten in the last few days, but hopefully we'll find another meal in the next little bit. Maybe we'll even get to watch them as they stalk something. Now, while we sit with these guys, we're going to kind of hope that they start to move. In the meantime, let's send you back to Taylor, who I believe has got some leaves rustling on a bush.
We do have some leaves, and they're also covered with tiny little drops of rain because it has been raining all afternoon. Well, just drizzling. Now, this is a tree. It's not my favorite tree, but it's called a silver cluster leaf tree, and it seems to be the favorite food of the elephants at the moment. So you can see, which are you looking at these? Oh yes, these over here. This is actually quite a small one that we've got over here. They get much bigger than this, and the reason why the elephants are eating it at the moment is because they've got their seed pods on them, and they find them very, very tasty. Let me see if I can find a seed pod, a nice one for you. No, this one actually doesn't look like it's got any on at all. But they don't normally like the leaves whatsoever. I thought I unplugged myself. Let me grab a handful. Because they are very bitter. So they've got something called tannins in them. And that's a natural way that this tree will use to protect itself. So if I take one, just like this, and I bite it, I'm doing this for all of you. So terrible. You know, if you eat a grape that doesn't taste ripe, or you eat the skin and it makes all the water in your mouth disappear. It makes you pucker your lips a little bit. That's what this stuff does. So those are tannins, even in the grape skin. So lots of fruits have them. And it makes it, well, the leaves not taste very nice, and then the animals don't want to eat it. So basically it stops the animals from eating too much of the same leaf. Otherwise, they would eat the entire tree, and then it would die, and there'd be none left. And they do that with every single tree. So they try and produce this tannin. This leaf has quite a high tannin content to it. Some of the other trees, they take a little bit longer, and those tannins are released, those chemicals are released very, very slowly. And normally, those chemicals are activated when an elephant or an impala or even a kudu, which is an antelope that likes to eat leaves, takes a bite, pulls on it, takes another bite, pulls on it, and so on and so on. So basically those animals are attacking the tree, and then the tree is saying, ah, everybody help, we're being attacked, we're being attacked. And it's releasing all these chemicals into the leaves to try and get the animals to stop eating them. Now, Alexa, you're wondering what other animals eat these leaves? Well, if you look very carefully, you can see some holes in this one. Can you see those holes? So obviously a caterpillar or something has been nibbling on that. Maybe even some ants. Who knows what's been eating this leaf? So like I said, so it's not just the elephants. There's lots of other creatures. And then if there's caterpillars that are making all these holes in these leaves, then there's also going to be lots of birds that are coming here to eat the caterpillars. So it's amazing how on one tree it will support the life of many, many different animals. But we'll see what else we can find. They're quite cool, these trees, because if you find a small one, it's really nice. You take the bark and you can strip the bark, and maybe Brent can find a silver cluster leaf tree outside by the tent, because he's very, very good at braiding, at plaiting. And funny enough, I'm not very good at it, so he can show you how cool and strong the bark is. But off you go, back to Brent, who's in the tent, and like I said, he is the game master this afternoon.
Well, welcome back. Now you'll see I've got a tiny little flower here, and on the outside it just looks like there's nothing happening in this little flower. However, inside this flower are at least 3 living creatures, and we've got a very cool little thing here that will help us. I'm just trying to, I can't even see them now, but as I said, oh, there it is. It's a tiny little creature. Oh, so I'm just going to I'm going to put it under our microscope. Oh, it's running away. Oh dear. There's a tiny earwig living on this little flower. I've just got to find out where it went again. He ran the other way. Oh no, there's another one. Is that another one? Okay. I went this way. Now let's see if he pops up. So there's a tiny little earwig living on this flower. Now, earwigs are predatory, so it actually, even though we can't see him now, I'm just going to try, while we come back to me, while I try to find it. So even though we can't see him now, there's even smaller things than earwigs. Oh, but quickly across to Tristan.
Now, we're just trying to keep up with our lions. They're starting to move now, and it sounded like they might even start roaring for us, which is going to be very, very cool if they do. The problem is, we're going to try and keep up with them through this very thick, dense bush that they're walking in. It's easy if you're a lion because, well, you can just walk through and round and into, and it's not very easy if you're a big Land Rover because, well, it gets very thick. Now, you can see them just in front of me, and I'm trying to figure out a way through here, but it looks like it might be a little on the thick side. I don't know if we're going to be able to follow them any further than what we are right now. Let's just try here. Seb, you're going to have to maybe duck. I'll try and get in through this thicket. We're going to try and push our way through. So now I've got to try and be careful. Well, Logan, a lion's favorite prey depends on the area that it lives in. So in this particular section, a lion's favorite prey is a buffalo. Now, I'm not sure we're going to actually get through here. We're not going to be able to get through here, unfortunately. So I think our lions have done a little dirty trick on us and have gone where we can't go, which is not ideal. I was hoping we would be able to follow them, but it seems like it's just going to be far too thick in here. I'm trying to just see, Sid, what do you think? Maybe we can squeeze ourselves through here. No, that's not going to work with the roof on. So we've got a roof on, which makes it a little more difficult. So I don't think we're going to be able to follow them. I can't even see the lions anymore. They've disappeared from sight, which is not very good news at all. So we're going to try and just go back and see if I can find a way through this thicket. So I'm going to try and navigate this area. While I do, let's send you back across to Brent, and maybe he can answer about how many teeth a lion's got.
Well, a lion's got 26 teeth, but this tiny little earwig is giving me an incredibly hard time. He keeps running around on the flower, and I just can't find him. Let's just keep still. Maybe he will come out. Oh no, there it is. There it is. Okay, how am I going to get that one? How am I going to show it to you? Let me just go down a little bit. Maybe turn it around. See that little dark patch Let me just try to change the focus. Ooh, there he is. That little... he's going to move through now, hopefully come out into the open. So earwigs are little predatory insects, and what he's doing is hunting for aphids or other little bugs that might feed off the flower. Come on, little earwig. There he comes. Well, that's his bottom. Now, earwigs have a very cool defense mechanism when they are disturbed. So his bottom actually almost looks like a scorpion's tail. So he raises it above his head like a scorpion, and to confuse things that might want to eat him, that he is a scorpion, when in fact he's harmless to everything. I think he's found something to eat in there. That's why he's burrowing in. Tyra is asking what type of flower this is. Tyra, this is a flower that doesn't even have a common name. There we go. Come out, earwig. It's called a Waltharia indica. So it's a Waltharia flower, and it's a very cool flower. Not only do earwigs and other little creatures live on it, but it is a very important flower if you are a butterfly of the Acrea family. So the flower is poisonous. And if the butterflies eat... Oh, there you go. And, well, the earwig's coming out, but it seems like it's all happening out in the field, so let's go back across to Taylor.
Look at what we've got. We've got a lion. I'm trying to get my spotlight out to put a little bit of light on it. I don't want to put too much on it. I don't know where this lion is from, where she's come from. So you've seen the boys with Tristan, you saw their manes. Well, this is a girl. She doesn't have a mane at all. She is going to walk past the car, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to move around too much because we have a signal problem, but it looks to be suckling some youngsters. Might look like maybe she has some cubs. I don't know where this lioness has come from, because the pride of lions that we normally see is known as the Nkuhuma pride. Now, they've been a little bit further away from here, and I don't recognize her. But it's pretty cool that we got to see a lion. We'll try and go around. We'll try and see if we can ask Taxim, because he can drive on some other properties that we aren't able to drive on, so maybe he knows which pride has been nearby. This is always the exciting thing out here, is you never know what animals you're going to see. Now, a great question from Dane this afternoon. Thank you, Dane. You said, when the lions eat, who eats first, the males or the females? Well, it depends, because the boys are much stronger than the girls, and they sometimes come in and take the kills away from the females, even if they've done all the hard work. But I've also seen it where the females have just refused. They've just said, no ways, Jose's, you're not coming in here. You are not taking my dinner away from me. And they just didn't let the boys eat at all. So they will all try and feed at the same time. Remember, these animals, they've got no table manners like you and I that say, please pass the salt and pepper, or may I have a knife and fork? They don't say anything like that. They just reach in and grab and pull pieces when they can, because it's a dog-eat-dog world. They have to be as quick as they can, try and get as much food as they can, as quickly as they can, otherwise it could mean no dinner for them whatsoever. I'm just trying to go around, because she's walking straight down the road, so we should get her now. Now, Tyra, as this lion walks down towards us, you've asked if these, if lions have predators. Of course they do. Other lions, hyenas, they can definitely be predators. Okay, I'm going to do a sneaky maneuver quickly. Just reverse. She's coming down towards us. We'll get a view of her now. I'll show you. Here she comes. And look how relaxed she is. She's walking right past the other car. Now, she's just, oh, you see that? She just walked straight past the other car. She didn't even bat an eyelid at them. And Jordan, you were wondering exactly that. Do I enjoy being around animals that could kill me? Well, I'm not worried about her killing me. I don't think she wants to eat me. I don't look like a wildebeest or a buffalo or a zebra. So I don't think she'll worry about me too much. And I haven't even got a door on the side of my car. And she's going to walk right past me. Look at that. Hello, big girl. She's a big lioness. Off she goes behind us. Very cool. Now, there are other cars in the safari with us. Tansy, you've asked, why do the female lions have longer legs than the males? They don't. That's actually not true at all. The boys are much taller than the girls. They get much bigger. I think it's just because she's a little bit on the thin side. She's hungry. And also, remember, those males have got those big manes. So you don't see as much of their shoulders and their legs like you do of the girls. So maybe that's why you thought that. But it's not actually the case at all. It's the boys that are bigger and taller and heavier than the girls. Goodness. Lots of reversing. Right, now, of course, Brent is having lots of fun in the tent. Maybe he can help me out here. Maybe he's figured out where this lioness has come from. So let's go across to him so we can ask him that question.
We quickly go across to the microscope because I've managed to get something very cool in focus. So as I said, this little flower is a whole ecosystem, and we've now just got a tiny, it looks like a little, I'm just trying to count its legs. It looks like a little spider. 1, 2, 3, 4, S. So it is a little spider. So like the earwig, it's living on this flower and trying to catch the other little non-predatory things that come here. And I was hoping that the earwig might come along, because the earwig might eat the spider. You never know. But there we go. A tiny little spider by the looks of things. And you can see it spinning, and it's actually putting web, and that silk is so fine, we can't actually see the silk, but it's laying a trap for minute creatures. Okay, while it continues to lay the trap, if we look on the right of where the spider is, there are some little, so you're just going to come, let's have a look, I'll show you here. So right over here, so when we go back to the microscope, in this area there, you'll see there's some tiny little green aphids moving. Now, so there we go. That's what those little things moving there are what the spider's hunting and what the earwig's hunting. So isn't that incredible? Now, I'm going to show you how small this flower is in a second. So, I mean, we are looking at stuff that is absolutely tiny. So tiny, I actually cannot see a lot of the stuff with if I was just looking at the flower. So we've got to remember that there are amazing little ecosystems that are happening in the minute level that we can't see. Now, look at that. We're all looking at that little flower. That's where everything's happening. How tiny is that? You can see how small it is compared to my finger. Isn't that incredible? All that life, all that happening in the tiniest little flower. Amazing. Now, I was talking about butterflies, and this fly being very important for certain butterfly species. The acria, they get poison from it. And I actually just stepped outside for a second, and I happened to find a chrysalis, but I don't think this is from a butterfly. I think this is from a moth. So inside there is a moth being formed. It's metamorphosizing from a caterpillar into a moth, and I'm hoping, I'm going to leave it over here, and I'm hoping it's going to hatch at some point. But I did promise I was going to show you what one of my favorite bones in the whole area was. Now, I was out on game drive. I'm not always in the tent. I'm often out in the field. Let me move that one. Oh, put that there. But this one I found while I was following wild dogs. So I was following wild dogs through the bush. Yeah, and I found this. There you go. Are you ready? There we go. And it is a very heavy elephant top thigh bone. So it's this part of your leg here. So on an elephant, it's this part of the leg. And this weighs probably around 50 or 60 pounds. And it's quite old. You can see it's been out in the bush for a long time before we brought it into the tent. And you can see, look there. Look at that. The thigh bone is the same length as my whole leg. And that's just half of an elephant's leg. Okay. So I'll tell you a bit more about this, but it sounds like Taylor's found another cool creature.
Still the same lioness that we've got now. We're trying to figure out what on earth is going on this afternoon, because I haven't seen the Nkuhuma lions for a long time, and that's the main pride of lions that we normally see. But like I said to you, they're not on this property. They're a little bit further west from where we are. So she's basically, if she had to go west now, she'd need to turn left, maybe 45 degrees, and then carry on going in that direction. And then she'll find the rest of her family. Now, I thought I saw her mammary glands looked a little bit swollen. So I'm wondering if she maybe doesn't have a baby somewhere, and that's why she's not with the rest of the pride. Maybe she's hidden her cub off in an area where we didn't know about, because I haven't seen this pride of lions properly. I've only seen them once properly. And there's another vehicle just following them. Now, we're lucky we've got a camera so we can zoom in from far away. Those are photographic guests on the back of the car, so they want to get as close as they can and get some cool shots. You can see Aubrey racing around so that they can try and have a nice sighting of her. Right, Tristan's lions are doing the opposite to mine. They're not walking away from him. They're walking towards him.
Well, finally, we've gotten them onto a road and they are walking straight towards us. So you'll see that they're going to kind of look at us as they go. They'll sniff every now and then and they'll just kind of mark on the bushes. Now, I'm trying to kind of reverse backwards with them, which is a little bit tricky. It's not easy to reverse with lions while it's dark and trying to actually see where we're going. So we'll just give them a bit more space than what I originally gave them. And it's just the one that you can see, but the rest are coming. I saw another one behind him, and so you'll find the other two will be there shortly. But there we go. There's the second one starting to appear now. So we're just going to roll backwards. It's a bit bumpy. I apologize. There we go. So I'll just kind of go there, and our lion should walk straight towards where we are, which is very, very cool. So Alexander, the average weight of an adult male lion like this is probably about 250 kilograms or 500 pounds, somewhere in that general vicinity. Sometimes they can get up to 600 pounds if they are really big individuals, but most of the time it's around 250 kilograms, 500 pounds, around there. So, but they are massive individuals. They're huge, huge, huge animals and are very impressive. So Logan, there's not different kinds of lions. There's just your stock standard lion here in Africa, and then you do get an Asiatic lion, which is a subspecies, but it's just because it occurs in Asia, so that's why it's called Asiatic lion. But slowly these boys are going, and I wonder, they look like they're heading towards where Taylor is. I'm not 100% sure where Taylor is, but they are walking in that general direction. So they're heading westwards, which I think is the same way that Taylor's lioness is walking. She's also walking west, and so I wonder if these boys are trying to maybe follow that lioness. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But here we go. Look at that. Isn't that cool? You can see the eyes of a male lion is very special. Now they're kind of cutting up the road, it looks like, and maybe they're going to keep going more into the bush. And we'll just try and see if we can stay with them, though, and not lose them. I'm just going to turn a little bit so it's easier for Sebastian, and to give Sebastian a bit more light to work with, because it's still very, very dark. Now, I know the female is walking away, but these guys might be trailing that female, and that's why they're walking kind of west at the moment. I believe Taylor's lioness is also walking west, which is quite a long way ahead of us, so we'll just have to see how it goes. Now, that lioness wouldn't want to be caught by these three boys, because it's not going to be very easy for her to kind of get away from them, so hopefully she keeps moving and stays away from them. But look at them, they're like a bunch of gangsters that have come into an area. They mean business, they want to take over, and they just kind of ambling down the road as they do it. It's pretty cool to see, isn't it? I think it's very, very cool, and you can see how they kind of lope along. It's epic. So Daniela, you can see these guys are starting to grow their manes. Their manes are not fully grown yet. They'll get much bigger than this. And these guys are 5 years old. So you'll have a situation where their manes start to grow normally at around about 3, 2.5, 3. You start to see a little bit of a mane growing. And then by the time they reach 7, their mane is normally fully grown. And then they have these beautiful big manes until they get to about 12. And then their mane starts to get a little bit smaller. You start to see hair kind of falling out a little bit as they get older. And their mane doesn't look nearly as impressive as a young male. So we'll see. These guys have got 2 years or so until their manes are fully grown and fully developed. At the moment they've just got little mohawks, and it will soon become big puffy manes like you see on other pictures or television of big male lions. So there's a little bit of time to go, and that's because they're still young, these guys. But it's amazing how they just walk into the night, and they are all the time listening and looking and trying to work out if they can find something that will give them an indication of either food or females. And so that's why they kind of walk like this. And the wind is blowing into our faces at the moment, so they're walking with the wind or into the wind. And the reason why lions walk into the wind is because they don't want to give their scent to blow ahead of them, so they would rather walk into the wind, and rather than they can smell things and things can't smell them. So if they're hunting, they don't give themselves away. Good. We're going to keep following these boys, see where they head. While we do that, let's send you back to Brent, who's still playing around with all kinds of different bones in his tent.
Finish up on this massive elephant thigh bone quickly. So, as I was saying, we found it on Game Drive, and it weighs about 50 or 60 pounds. It's already lost a lot of weight because it's quite old, so bones, when they're out in the dry African heat, they'll actually dry out and start flaking, and they will lose some of their weight. And you can see how porous the bone is inside. The outer coat has come off here. Now, lots of different little animals love elephant bones, particularly your little squirrels and porcupines, and they will chew on elephant bones to get calcium. So especially something like porcupines that need a lot of calcium to maintain all their porcupine quills. Here is a porcupine quill right here. So there we go. That is the porcupine quill. You can see it's very sharp. So this end is the one, the white end is inside the porcupine, and then they've got the very sharp end to try make sure no predators attack them. Well, we'll come back down now, but quickly across to Taylor.
We got another view of this lioness, but before she disappears. Now, with the Nkuhuma lions, this pride I was telling you about, there are 5 lionesses, so there are 5 adult females. Now, there is one lioness that's got one very young cub that must be maybe 7 or 8 months old now. So I'm wondering, maybe it's her. Maybe she has tried to hide away from the Avoca males, the males that Tristan has got, because they will want to kill her cub. Now, Joanna, you've asked a question that is a difficult one to answer. You're wondering if the female lions run faster than the males. Well, the females are a little bit more slender, so they're not as big and bulky like the males, like we were talking about. So maybe the females are a little bit more athletic, but let me tell you, I've seen male lions running, and they run super, super, super fast. But maybe the girls could be a little bit quicker. But when it comes to taking down animals for prey, like a big buffalo, those big male lions are so important to have around because they are much stronger than the girls, and they can actually knock a buffalo off its feet. Let's see if we can get another view of her quickly. Now, Riona, you're wondering if this lioness is on her, well, live in prize, why is she on her own? Well, I think, like I just said to you now, I think she's trying to hide her baby away from those male lions that Tristan has got, because they are not the father of that little lion cub. And if they do find that little lion cub, they're going to kill it, because they don't want to invest any time in trying to protect the genetics of, so their bloodline, basically, of other male lions. They would rather kill those young lions, and then the females will want to mate with the males again. And then they will protect the pride and their cubs, but they don't want to protect another male lion's cubs. So that's why I think she's on her own, as I think she's tried to hide them away, which is a good idea. So good luck to her. Now I'm going to send you back to Brent in the tent so he can say one last goodbye.
Welcome back to the tent. Now, I just showed you that moth chrysalis that I said would hopefully hatch into a moth one day. But it's not going to happen. I started looking at it a little bit more closely under the microscope, and I noticed this big hole in it. Now, there's different insect species that will actually burrow in and eat that moth before it can hatch. And that's what's happened here. If the moth would come out, that whole chrysalis would open. You can even see the shape of the wings and that starting to form. But unfortunately, some kind of predatory insect got to them and ate the poor moth before it even had a chance to stop being a caterpillar. It could have been a butterfly, and this butterfly never got a chance to fly. Very sad. But everything is for a reason, and they're all control. Now, of course, I'm surrounded by all these bones, and Matthew was wondering how many different species of bones, how many animal species do we have here? Okay, so we got elephant, zebra, wildebeest, elephant. Sorry, let's start again. Let's start from this side, shall we, Dave? We've got buffalo. We've got warthog down there. We've got springbok, stenbok, duiker. Oh, I've lost count already. What do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Let's make sure you're missing 1 or 2. 17, 18 down there. And then I've got a few more outside. 19, probably about 25 different mammal species. Sorry, I went out of the light, managed to hit my head. I do that quite often. So we're going to say goodbye, and for the end of your school drive, we're going to send you across to those 3 young male lions.
Well, our 3 young males are still slowly but surely pacing their way westwards and are going closer and closer to where Taylor left that line. So hopefully she keeps going and she gets towards her pride, because the rest of her pride is further to the west, and hopefully these boys lose interest in trying to follow her. I don't think that they know that she's ahead of them just yet, but they're getting to a point now where they're going to start smelling her, because this is very close to where Taylor Lioness. So she's moved a bit and they've got a lot of catching up to do, but it's brisker in the way they walk, move much faster, and then it'll be difficult for her. And
Oh my goodness. Sorry about that, everybody. Tristan seems to have vanished. Some technical difficulties, probably due to the very bad weather that we have at the moment. But it's been such a cool day, hasn't it? It's been an amazing day, very exciting. We've left our lioness, though. She's gone walking down the road, and there are some other people coming into the sighting to see her too. Mateus, now a question that I'm so excited to answer because it's my favorite question. It's, do I love my job? I don't love it. I don't even know. Is there what better word can I use to describe my job? It's the best job in the whole world, Mateus. Imagine being able to drive on safari every single day, looking at these amazing questions, having all of you from the different schools join us, and then answering all your questions from across the wide ocean. How cool is that? There's nothing better. Getting wet, chasing after wild dogs, having big lions run past us. But we've been so spoiled today. We have seen all sorts of animals, and I hope that you all have enjoyed it just as much as I have, as Brent has, as Tristan has. It's been a very, very exciting day, even though the weather was a bit drizzly. But for all our regular viewers, thank you again, of course, for joining us. For all the schools, remember to brush your teeth, do your homework, and we look forward to answering your questions next time. See you all soon.